Welcome to councillors and staff and those joining online and in the public gallery. The Local Government Act 2020 requires that I, Mark Everstein, as Chief Executive Officer, chair the election of the Mayor and preside over the meeting until the Mayor is elected and then assumes the chair. We are live streaming today, so please note that today's meeting is being live streamed and can be viewed by the general public via Council's Facebook page and later uploaded to Council's website. By participating in and addressing those present at the meeting, you consent to any information you disclose, including any personal information or sensitive information being recorded and uploaded to the website. I now ask outgoing Mayor, Councillor Karen Foster, to read the opening statement.
With pleasure. Thank you, Stein. As councillors, we recognise the responsibilities we carry and we're guided by the values of service, respect and integrity. Good decision-making requires transparency, accountability and behaviours that uphold the trust placed in us as elected representatives of the community we serve.
Thank you. I'll now share the acknowledgement of the country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Do we have any apologies? No apologies today. So I'll then now also invite our outgoing, I should say, Mayor Councillor Karen Foster to share a couple of some reflections on the past year.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. So when I was elected a year ago, feels like yesterday, I promised to lead with an open mind, open eyes and an open heart. And I think I've done that to the best of my ability. Serving as Mayor, I feel very emotional today. Don't make me cry. Serving as Mayor has been one of the great honours of my life, and I couldn't have done it without the support, wisdom and steady dedication of the entire Moyne Shire council team. I include all the officers in that. And you've challenged me, inspired me and reminded me every day why local government matters. To our new Mayor, whomever that might be, my warmest congratulations. I strongly believe that being Mayor is a privilege. It's not a right. So we'll see who that person might be. I look forward to supporting the new Mayor as that person takes the chair and continues the important work ahead. I have a lot of hope for our future as a council team. Together, we've laid some solid foundations over the past year. We have a clearer strategy with a council plan that calls on us to invest in and strengthen our foundations for future growth. We've made great progress in how we work as a council team, I think. We're all very different. Diversity means good decision-making, so it's a great thing. And I believe we've developed some really strong working relationships over the past year and that we have clearer respect for one another. We've also clarified our shared objectives for this council term, most of which centre on careful and considered financial stewardship. And that's something that we can all agree on. My hope is that we keep building on the progress we've made together, that we continue to deepen our mutual understanding, listen openly and engage meaningfully across difference. We serve a rich and diverse community, and our ability to govern well depends on our willingness to lean into that diversity with curiosity, with respect and with courage. This will be particularly important given some of the challenges that we know lie ahead. For my part, I'm going to remain a passionate advocate, a partner and a proud supporter of the work of the entire organisation. So thank you for the privilege of serving alongside you, councillors. And to our new Mayor, may your new year be purposeful, unifying and full of impact. I wish you and I wish all of us every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Foster, for that heartfelt message. Okay, so the next point of business is to move on to item 1.5, which addresses the mayoral term of office. So the Local Government Act requires council to resolve whether the mayor is to be elected for 1 or 2 years. This term will also apply to the deputy mayor if one is also elected. The Act also requests that council determine the date of the next election of the mayor. So we do have an officer recommendation, and that says that number 1, the council determine the mayor term to be a period of 1 year, And 2, determine that the next mayor election be held on Tuesday, the 24th of November, 2026. So I'll invite at this stage any questions. No questions. Okay, well, with that, I'd invite or call for a motion to determine that the mayor term, and confirm the date of the next mayor election as per the officer recommendation. Councillor Merrihy, thank you. Moved and seconded by Councillor Foster. So I invite the mover to speak.
Thank you. Through the chair. I think it's good to have the 1-year mayoral terms. I think that it keeps us on our toes. It ensures that the mayor is acting in the best interests of the whole council, and it just makes sense. Tuesday the 24th of November is going to be a year later, so I'm happy to move that.
Thank you, Councillor Merrihy. As seconder, Councillor Foster, do you wish to speak at this time?
Thank you, Chair. Just to say, we have got a strong and proud tradition at Moyne of sharing this role around, and I think that's a really healthy thing in terms of governance, and also it allows us all to be a part of a broader team together. So I think it's a healthy thing to do. So very happy to support this session.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councillor Foster. Does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No? Okay. So with that, I'll invite the mover to sum up and finalise if there's any further. Thank you, Councillor Merrihy. I'll put the motion to the vote. And that is carried 7-0. Thank you, Arlene. Okay, so on to the next order of business, which is item 1.6, and that is the election of the mayor. I move that the next procedural item be the election of the mayor, which will be conducted in accordance with the Act. All councillors must vote, and voting is to be by show of hands. The successful candidate requires an absolute majority of votes, which is more than half the total number of councillors. Therefore, for us, it is four votes, not the number of voting councillors. So such as if we only had 6 in attendance, we have all 7 councillors here today. So therefore, a minimum of 4 votes is required. As CEO, I have no voting rights in the process. So the next step is to call for nominations. So I wonder, yes, thank you, Councillor Merrihy. Do you have a nomination?
Through you, Chair, I would like to nominate Councillor Jordan Lockett for mayor position.
Councillor Lockett, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett and Councillor Merrihy. Are there any other nominations for mayor? Councillor Taylor.
Through you, Chair, I would like to nominate Councillor Jim Dukas.
Councillor Dukas, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you, Councillor Dukas and Councillor Taylor. Are there any other nominations? No? Okay, well, let's put it to the vote. Thank you kindly. So we have Councillor Lockett and Councillor Dukas. So we'll take that in order of nominations. So if I could see a show of hands, please, for Councillor Lockett. We have 4. We've got Councillor Lockett, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Merrihy and Councillor Foster. Thank you. And could I see a show of hands for Councillor Dukas? We have Councillor Dukas, Councillor Ross and Councillor Taylor. Thank you. With that, I declare Councillor Lockett as Mayor of Moyne Shire. Congratulations. And I'll hand the chair over.
Thank you. What a massive privilege that's been bestowed upon me. My first thing I'd like to do as Mayor is put some clapper sticks on the table, which I asked Justin Travis Lovett about. And this is one, I've got a Paisley scarf, which represents diversity, and something close to my heart, which is Paisley, which is just a pattern. But it's to remind us about our differences that we all have and that we all share. Also, The Euro Commission is about truth telling. And next to the gavel that we have, I thought it would be Councillor Ross has also shaped some of these himself at an event. So hopefully if he wants to donate his would be cool. But I'd like to put these here as a reminder to myself, but all of us about truth telling. Obviously with our Indigenous history, but truth telling that we all wish to speak. So I wanted to do that first of all. I have a speech that I did prepare in case that this was successful. So thank you. Thanks, councillors, Mr. Eberstein, directors, council staff, and all the remarkable people of Moyne. Today is one of the greatest privileges of my life. It's my 10th year on council and something I've wanted to do at the right time. And this does feel like the right time. So I really appreciate those that voted for me, but those that didn't, I really respect you a lot as well. Absolutely. First of all, I wanted to thank Councillor Foster. What a phenomenal speech, as always. You have done more single-handedly for women in leadership than a lot of councils have over your 5 years on council. You should hold your head very, very, very high. It's a very tough act to follow. So if I can do anywhere near a good job that you've done in the last 12 months, I'll be very proud. You've left the Shire in a very good state. So I, look forward to following in your footsteps, although I'm nervous about doing that, but I will do my best in my ability. Your unwavering commitment to this community has set a high standard for all of us. Your passion, your timeless advocacy, and your ability to unite all of us for a common purpose and your qualities I deeply admire. I'm privileged to build upon the strong foundations you have laid. I know, as I said, big shoes to fill. I also wanted to highlight that you've been able to lead from a compassionate way, not a forceful way. And I think that's something you should also be very proud of. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to take this moment to thank my wife. Yelena's been a massive support of mine, particularly for this role, but throughout my whole life. So I really want to do a big shout out to my wife. She's the mayor at home. So a big shout out to her and to my kids, Lennox for lending me the clapping sticks, and Lily for her encouragement, of course. I also wanted to thank Jock Sarong and Trail Dowling, who've been very encouraging over a long period of time for council. We have a massive year ahead. Obviously, as we tail off towards the end of the year, next year is an election year at state level. The state of our roads are a disgrace. And we've been advocating in this space for a long time. We have a lot of work to do in advocating. We have a lot of work to do as a council to let the feds and the state know that it's not okay in the state of our roads. Our farmers are still recovering from drought, and that is something that we importantly need to advocate for, and will continue to do so. Wind farms, as we know, bring many challenges, but they bring many opportunities. And this is something, again, at federal and state level, federal being offshore wind farms, we have a lot of advocacy work to do. We often say that the social license has expired with wind farms. It's curdled, in fact. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that space. I and this council group will work well as a team. I think, as Councillor Foster said before, everyone brings unique skill set to the table. Councillor Ross, you're a farmer, you have a great sense of humour, and you know a lot more about infrastructure than I do. Councillor Dukas, you have been a stalwart for this community for more than 2 decades, and your leadership and your accountability is something I admire. Councillor Foster, I have already spoken about your leadership and compassion and your passion and your guru of governance is something you should be very proud of. Councillor Murray, your passion for our First Nations community and your connection to country is something I really appreciate. Councillor Taylor, your knowledge of finance and your passion for thought and diversity, I appreciate and admire. Councillor Ryan, your passion for diversity and for inclusion and for women's rights is something I really admire also. Together, I think we form a unique and diverse council, and it's important we work together. Thank you. We now move to the election of the deputy mayor. Just find my image. Oh, so a call for a nomination for deputy mayor. Councillor Foster.
I would like to nominate Councillor Byron Murray.
Councillor Murray, do you accept?
I do.
Please. Any other nominations? Councillor Ross.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Councillor Dukas.
Councillor Dukas, do you accept?
I do.
Okay. Any other nominations for deputy mayor? Clarify, it's for next year, period of 1 year. No further nominations? Yes, so we'll put the motion to the vote. We'll vote in order. Councillor Murray is in favour. Councillor Foster, self, Councillor Lockett, Councillor Ryan, and Councillor Murray. And for Councillor Dukas, seek a show of hands. Councillor Ross, Dukas, and Taylor. Congratulations, Councillor Murray. You are the deputy mayor. I now seek a mover to take a short moment for photos.
So moved.
Yep, thank you. And a seconder? All those in favour will take a short recess. Councillor Ross, yep, that's 7-0. Thank you. We'll take a short moment to get some photos and some short meeting, and then we'll be back with the meeting. Thank you. G'day, Nyatimwa. Welcome back, everyone. Call for a councillor to move that standing orders be resumed. Councillor Ryan. Seek a seconder. Councillor Foster. Back to the vote. 7-0. Any conflicts, any declarations of interest for the meeting? Councillor Moyne.
Through you, Mayor, I would like to declare a conflict of interest for item 6.1, the Belfast Aquatics update. It appears in our confidential agenda. I have two close family members that are on the committee and one that is employed by Belfast Aquatics, so I will remove myself from the check.
Thank you, Councillor Moyne. Now move on to minutes. Confirmation of minutes. I call for a mover. Any questions on our minutes, councillors? No questions. I'd like to invite a mover. You, Councillor Taylor, and a seconder. Councillor Foster. Councillor Taylor. Just having a minute. Thank you, Councillor Foster.
Nothing further to add. Thanks.
I'll put the item to the vote, councillors. 7-0. Item 2.1, section 11A, Instrument of Appointment, Authorisation, Planning and Environment Act, 1987. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Just to clarify today that there's no public fish-based Try that again. There being no public participation at today's meeting, we move to the officers' reports, which is item 2.1, as said, S11A, Instrument of Appointment of Authorisation of Planning and Environment Act 1987. Move to Acting Director of Corporate and Governance, Ms. Regent. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So this report is brought to council and is provided and with a request to update the instrument of delegation. This is used by officers to enforce the Planning and Environment Act 1987, and it's been updated to identify additional staff and update the staff that we have who in their role undertake this work for council. That's put to council for a resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Regent. Any questions, councillors? No questions. Seeker mover. Councillor Murray. Councillor Ross. Speak to the motion.
Through you, Mayor. It's quite a procedural document. I'm happy to move it.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Second, Councillor Ross.
Fine, happy with the second.
Thank you. Any councillor wish to speak for or against the motion? No. Councillor Murray.
Through you, nothing further.
Thank you. Put the item to the vote. Move on to item 2.2, S6, council delegations to members of council staff. Ms. Regent again, thank you.
Yeah, so councillors, this report is also brought to you with some revised delegations for staff to undertake work under the Local Government Act. I'll just make some notes that there are a couple of changes in addition to adding and reviewing the roles that are delegated powers. There's been an update to the powers that relate to the Planning and Environment Act, which were derived from specific provisions that are included there. There are also some typographical changes made in reference to the Cemeteries and Crematoria Act 2003, and there's a specific reference to the regulations for the crematorium, the Cemeteries and Crematorium Regulation 2015 that had been missing, but there was a change made in June 2025 that's now been reflected in the
Ms. Regent. Any questions, councillors? No questions. Anyone wish to move the recommendation before us? Councillor Foster. And the seconder? Councillor Taylor. Good. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move this. It is largely procedural. We need to do that, so nothing really I can add to this.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Taylor.
Just happy to.
Motion. Sorry.
Nothing.
Put the item to the vote. In favour of the motion, sorry. Thank you, councillors and staff, as I humble my way through. 7-0. Thank you. Item 2.3, appointment of councillors to committees. Again, Ms. Regent, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So, councillors, this report is brought to you with an officer recommendation to appoint they're the ones that we need to be reviewing at this point in time. So, as you can see from the recommendation, the Mayor is noted in the first item. So the first recommendation is that you appoint Mayor and Councillor Susan Taylor as representative of Council to the Audit and Risk Committee. The second recommendation relates to representation on the Municipal Association of Victoria and allows for the appointment of the Mayor and a delegate. So as moved, it will include
Engagement and Partnership Plan, the annual report. Ms Robertson again, thank you.
Mayor, councillors, this report provides the first full year organisational update on council's progress implementing the Aboriginal engagement and partnership plan adopted in June 2024. Council's committed to strengthening culturally informed engagement, partnerships with traditional owners and compliance with the Victorian Aboriginal and local government strategy. So this report addresses progress, capability building, partnership activities and internal improvement processes.
Thank you, Ms Robertson. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of questions regarding the report. So the first thing I just wanted to raise a structural concern before I ask my question. So during the last 12 months, so the first year of this plan, and it's noted in the report that council partnered in the Framingham Emergency Services Expo, which was held at Kiro Health Services. Although it was council-supported event and open to the general public, I, as an elected councillor, was advised that I wasn't permitted to attend. In practice, this amounts to an informal veto over elected representatives exercised not by council but by external entities. That's significant. That is a significant transfer of authority and illustrates the practical risks of embedding identity-based partnership structures into council's governance model. So my concern is not personal, it is institutional. And so with that in mind, my first question is, does the AEPP establish Aboriginal involvement as purely advisory, or does it create circumstances in which external Aboriginal organisations gain decision-making influence or gatekeeping power over council activities, events or governance processes? So through you, Mayor, the intent of the Aboriginal engagement plan is to form strong working relationships with our traditional owners and to help inform council decisions where we recognise and acknowledge traditional owner input. To the event that was referred, that event was out on a traditional owner site, and therefore I guess some decision making falls within their realms.
Thank you, Ms Robertson.
Yeah, so well, just to follow up on that, it was a council, as is in the report, it was a partnership event, and so my concern is that practically it might be the intent that it will remain just advisory, but in practice it actually, there is this veto power. So just moving on to my next question. So I'd like to know what assessment's being done on additional staff time, resourcing and operational efforts required to meet the plan's actions, and which existing services will be impacted if those demands come into current capacity. So I don't think we have a detailed resourcing assessment on the impact of the plan. So through you, Mayor, we do within the cultural and community development team, we have a staff member who has oversight of the Aboriginal engagement plan. A lot of the actions that fall within the plan are actually also mirrored to effect in other plans. So actions that relate to our youth are also mirrored within the youth engagement strategy. Actions that may relate to the creative space might also be mirrored in our creative strategies. So a lot of those resources overlap between different pieces of work. Because the measures in this document are quite broad, they're not specific, we've been able to weave these requirements in with other requirements and work to an outcome across a couple of different strategies. Just to follow up, from the report, it seems as though there will be additional training sessions and embedding it into every department across the organisation and setting up a new committee. They would have to attract extra financial resources required to do that. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be answered here, but I think it would be important for council to have a detailed resourcing assessment on that.
Through you, Mayor, I can take that on. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors?
Yeah, I've got one, Mr.
Councillor
Mayor.
Davis?
On page 192, under opportunities explored, one of the items explored talks about discussions underway with traditional owners to explore opportunities incorporated cultural burning, fire prevention on roadsides and reserves. So could you explain cultural burning on roadsides? Because it's hard enough now for fire brigades to burn the roadsides. Some of them just do it on their own bat and I suppose ignore the rules and regulations that they're told not to do it. So, can you explain in some detail?
Through you, Mayor, I would have to take that on notice because I haven't been part of those conversations, so I'm not sure what has taken place in regard to those conversations.
Okay. The one under that, so thank you, Mr. Mayor, exploring representation of traditional owners on the Emergency Management Planning Committee. Now, if I remember correctly, the last fire at the Budge Beam, Councillor Ross can help me out here, no fire trucks or firemen were allowed on the area or in Budge Beam to put the fire out. So if we got someone on our management committee, wouldn't it be a conflict of interest if there's someone there who says, sorry, you can't go on Aboriginal land, and here we are with all the firefighters and emergency services people trying to put the fire out?
Councillor, it's Robin to answer, but we stick to our Aboriginal engagement plan, which obviously this is a part of, but we'll.
So through you, Mayor, again, I haven't been part of those conversations, but I would imagine that having traditional owners as part of the Emergency Management Committee, whilst this is not actually saying they will be, it's just saying explore what that might look like, it would just then be the ability to bring traditional owners in on that forum to provide some perspective for in the way that they like to work. And there might be good opportunities then to have conversations around the management of places like Budgebing in emergencies.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ms. Robertson. Any other questions, councillors? I'll on which to move the recommendation we have before us. Councillor Murray, would you like? Councillor Foster as the seconder. Councillors? Thank you. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Firstly, I want to thank all of the council officers that have been involved not only in the development of this plan, but in seeing it through. And I'm really, really pleased to see that council are going to establish a working group to draw on existing facilities and staff members to really try and drive this forward. This is really important. It's fantastic for our council to see how much has been done and how much is planned to do. And I'm just really proud that our council is doing a really good job in this space. I also really want to thank our officers for doing this. It's predominantly resourced with existing operational budget. And I know how many demands there are on our budget. I know how hard it is. I would love personally to see this actually be a better resource through council. However, the work that our officers are doing within the confines of minimal budget is really commendable. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Foster is the seconder.
I'll reserve my right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Ryan.
Through you, Mayor, I'd like to speak for the motion. I'm pleased to support this update, which reflects genuine partnership building we've undertaken with our First Nations community over the last 12 months. And it shows meaningful steps forward, grounded in listening, respect and shared learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a report that's been tabled and not presenting the plan for consideration. So I think for me, in making my decision on this motion, is just that the items that I addressed earlier, ensuring that it is advisory only, and that we can have the specific measurable outcomes that this plan is trying to work towards, so that we we can properly evaluate each year on year as we get new reports.
Thank you. Councillor
That's, yeah.
Taylor. Any other council wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Foster, you reserved your right.
I did. Thank you, Mayor. I think we should remember that this plan is the result of a previous decision of council, so it's not come out of the blue. To Councillor Dukes's point, I don't think we're trying to create conflicts of interest. We're trying to invite voices and different perspectives to our decision making. Bearing in mind that this is an internal facing document, so it's about building understanding amongst our team. And I think understanding is surely a precursor to trust, and true partnerships take time and they must be based on trust. So this is really important foundational work that we're doing. It's not asking a great deal. It's not a huge investment. It's simply about building understanding and helping to bring diversity into our decision making, which is what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to do as councillors to represent to the best of our ability all members of our community.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Murray as the mover to summarise. Nothing further. I'll put the item to the vote. Those in favour? 7-0. That's unanimous. Now welcome Mel Mayer, the Acting Finance Manager, to the Chamber. Thank you. Item 2.7 for the monthly financial report for October 2025. Ms. Regent, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So councillors, this report provides council with a snapshot of our financial performance and that at the end of October. So the officer recommendation is that council receives and notes the financial report as at the 31st of October 2025. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Regent. Any questions, councillors?
Yes.
Perfect.
I'm just finding my spot. Do it. Sorry, I'm just finding my spot.
Take your time. Have a scroll.
Thank you. I'm ready. Okay. If I may.
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Regent or what's your Eva? It's terrible. I've got a mental blank. The question is around the emergency services and volunteer levy, which obviously for the first time has been rolled into our rates notices in this past quarter. Do we have any sense of whether property owners are choosing not to pay that? So my question's actually in two parts. Do we have any evidence of property owners not paying that levy as part of their rates? And secondly, what is the impact on us as a council organisation if people opt to do that?
Through there. So at this stage, it's probably a bit early to tell if people haven't paid their contribution to that levy. The rates notices have gone out. People may have been paying in part payments, and it won't be till we have a better picture of how much people have paid towards the total that we can understand if the levy has been missed from payments. So it might be a little bit too early to understand that. In terms of the impact, there is a requirement for council to collect the levy and to pay that percentage to the state government in accordance with the requirements. So until we understand what's been paid, we probably won't know what the impact of that is.
Thank you very much, Ms. Regent.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Lucas.
Page 205, debtors other outstanding. It's gone from 2.5 million, 6.8. You tell me why the jump?
Can I take that one on notice?
You can.
Any other questions, Councillor Lucas?
No, that's the one. The others were answered earlier. Thank you, Mel.
Any other questions, councillors? Yes, ma'am. Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. I guess not really a question, but I just think it's really important that our community understand, just in relation to the emergency services volunteer fund levy. I just wanted to really drill home that if
Question.
Councillor Murray, because the question is, council, you've mentioned that council, sorry, Ms. Regent, you've mentioned that if ratepayers neglect to pay emergency services volunteer fund levy, we will still have to pass on the relevant amount to the state government. There is a misconception in the community that we won't have to make up the difference. And I guess what I'm trying to clarify for everyone watching is that regardless of if they don't pay, we still have to. Is that correct? Yeah. Well, and sorry, just to clarify, I'm still trying to understand this myself. So that's why I ask a very convoluted, hard to get across question, is because it is confusing and there is a lot of misinformation out in our community. And it's really important that there's a very clear understanding about exactly what will be paid by our council if people choose not to.
It's ready. Thank you.
It is complicated, and it's probably important to get back to councillors with a detailed explanation of how that's calculated so that we can be really precise in terms of how you refer to it. But my understanding is that it's based on the percentage of the rate that's paid, and so we have an obligation to pass that percentage on. But we probably can come back to you with a bit more detail about that, because I think that's probably important to better pass on to the community.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions, councillors?
Yes, thank you. On page 214, Appendix B, budget variations. Wood Ferry Community Service Playground Equipment Replacement, then it says, under comments, urgent works, something to do with replacement of damaged slide. I didn't think those kids would be big enough to damage anything. And why is it urgent? I mean, urgent, there shouldn't be anything urgent in a community service centre. They're only little kids. I mean,
It's Robson.
Yes.
Through you, Mayor, we, as part of all playground requirements, we have to do a compliance inspection on all our playgrounds routinely. When the inspection was undertaken at Port Fairy Community Services Centre, the officer noticed that the slide is no longer compliant. So we have an obligation to replace that slide because it's deemed unsafe.
right, okay, that's the slide. Is that officer, do you do this every year, or does just come about when you get round to it?
No, they're scheduled routine playground inspections. The playground in Port Fairy, just for context, the playground down there hasn't had a lot of replacement in the time that centre's been operational. So it is reaching end of life on a lot of the equipment.
But the heading says urgent works required to playground equipment. I can't see how you can get to the urgent works. If it's inspected yearly, people should be on top of it. Urgent works means you've just neglected and all of a sudden it's collapsed in a heap.
Through you, Mayor, I think the word urgent is probably not necessarily correct. It was picked up in a routine inspection that it's no longer compliant.
Okay, when I saw urgent, I thought, hang on, somebody's not doing their job. But if it just says playground equipment replacement after safety inspection or something like that, that'd be great.
Yes. And so I remind you about finding on how people do their jobs in the chamber. We'll stick to the question, but
I can say what I like. If I think it should be done a different way, I can say it. That's not telling me what I can and can't say.
Councillor Dukas.
Righto, what about Southcombe Park internal road being transferred to the playground fence? I thought that internal road had to be done. During workshop discussions, I asked why we're spending so much money on an internal road, and we've got a long drawn out answer that had to be done differently. It had to be made wider and safer and a whole lot of things because cars and vans are bigger, etc. And now you're telling me that the internal roads have been transferred to a playground, was it to a playground fence?
Your
So an
question,
explanation would be
Councillor
nice.
Lucas.
Sorry,
Your question?
why?
There's
If the road was urgent, yes.
Ms McNamara, you're happy to take that question?
Yes, through you, Mayor. Thank you, councillor Dukas. It's my understanding that there's been some savings achieved through the internal road construction, and therefore they've utilised that saving to repair the fence around the playground, etc.
Right, so it's a saving,
Saving
not a
from
transfer. So the saving is because we did the job better than we thought we did, or for less, or was the savings because it was overquoted to start with?
through you, Mayor. I'd have to check on those two scenarios, but all I know is we did
Right, but no, well,
Oh.
not sure under budget.
Thank you, Ms McNamara. Any further questions, councillors? I wish to, hang on, try again. Anyone like to move the recommendation before us? Councillor Murray and a seconder, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Murray, Mr. Mover.
Through you, Mayor. Not further to add. Once again, it's a very thorough document, and I'm grateful to the officers.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Taylor is the seconder. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? And as the mover, Councillor Murray. Further. Now I'll put item 2.7 to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously, 0. Thank you, councillors. And thank you, Ms Mayor. Now move on to item 2.8, councillor events. Ms Rich.
Thank you, through Mayor. So this, councillors, this report, as you know, councillors regularly represent Moyne at many events across the Shire and elsewhere. And the proposed schedule identifies events and councillors who will attend those events over the next month. The recommendation is that council endorse the attendance of the nominated councillors at the following events.
Thank you, Ms Regent. Any questions, councillors? No questions. It's been a workshop. Does anyone wish to move the recommendation before us? Thank you, Councillor Ryan, and a seconder, Councillor Taylor. Thank you.
Thanks through you, Mayor. Again, another very procedural document. It is great, however, to see that the council team getting out and about across the whole Shire and representing Moyne. And I encourage all of our community members to get out and about and support our local events in the region as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor as a seconder.
It's a very straightforward motion.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Does any councillor wish to speak for or against the motion? And as the mover, Councillor Ryan.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Further, I'll put item 2.8 to the vote. Those in favour? Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to item 3.1, Mayor and Councillor activities. Are there any questions? Councillor Foster.
Mayor, I just want to draw attention to the fact that due to my own oversight, several events have been left off the last month's Mayor activities. Is now an appropriate for me just to quickly list those?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just quickly, just so that people are aware, November the 5th, I attended Pat's Primary School breakfast in Croy with Councillor Murray. November 10th, I represented Moyne Shire at the Brower College Remembrance Day service. November 13th, I participated in an online panel discussion with people from across the country for the Australian Local Government Women's Association. On the 17th, I attended the Australian Coastal Councils Association AGM, for which I am one of 2 Victorian representatives. November 19, I participated in the live recording of a very fun event in Koroit, which was the Town Criers podcast, which was an incredible evening. November 21, regional training along with all other councillors, and November 22, along with yourself, Mayor, and the new Deputy Mayor, we attended the Port Fairy Surf Lifesaving Club 100th anniversary celebrations. Thank you for your indulgence, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Foster. Any other comments at all, councillors? Now move to item 3.2, councillor notice of motion. There are none, so move on to general matters. Any general matters, councillors? Councillor Ryan.
Through you, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to the 16 days of activism. So every year from today, the 25th of November through to the 10th of December, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence calls for an end to violence against women and girls. Almost 40% of women have experienced violence since the age of 15. One woman is killed every 9 days by a current partner in Australia. Women with a disability are twice as likely to have experienced sexual violence over their lifetime than women without disabilities. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women are 31 times more likely to be hospitalised, with evidence suggesting that non-Indigenous men make up a significant proportion of perpetrators. Lesbian, bisexual and queer women experience higher rates of sexual violence than heterosexual women. And in Moyne specifically, the number of reported incidents of family violence has increased in recent years. I encourage everyone in our community to just sit with these statistics for a moment, but also please engage with the multiple events running across the region, both online and in person, to recognise that this is still a big issue within our area and Australia as a whole. And I would also like to take the moment to thank our outgoing Mayor, Councillor Foster. Thank you for leading with courage, compassion, inclusivity and wisdom. Your kindness, generosity, collaboration and expertise have shaped a stronger, more connected council. I'm sure I'm not speaking for just myself when I say that I've learnt so much from you and your incredible leadership over the last 12 months. And I look forward to continually sitting beside you for the next 3 years as we aim to make Moyne a more equitable and progressive Shire. Thank you for your service. Thank you, sir.
Councillor Ryan. Any other councillors wish to any general matters? Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. I just wanted to touch on that the Great Victorian Bike Ride is in Moyne currently. I had the privilege of welcoming them to Moyne Shire last night. They're in Koroit. They started in Mortlake. They rode to Koroit yesterday. They've got a little rest day in Koroit and they were going to have a little loop around Port Fairy, head back to Koroit tonight, and then they make their way over to Port Campbell, I believe, and then they finish off up in Corangamite Shire in Camperdown. It's phenomenal. They've turned Vic Park in Koroit into a mini city, and there's over 2,000 people, I think 1,800 riders, 200 volunteers. The economic benefit that they are bringing with them, with all of those people into our region, is really appreciated. And I also really want to thank Koroit, all of the businesses I've noticed when I was there last night. There's lots of people walking around. There are businesses posting on social media that they normally wouldn't be open on today during lunch, but they're opening just to cater to all of these extra visitors. And so I'm really grateful to Koroit, to the businesses and the community there for being so welcoming, and to the Great Big Bike Ride for coming to our area. We very much appreciate it. And just want to touch on that. We did have Remembrance Day on the 11th of November. We held lots of services across our Shire. Personally, thank you to the Hawkesdale community for being so welcoming and for giving me a little tour of their town prior to 11 a.m. And finally, just to mirror some of Councillor Ryan's words to outgoing Mayor Councillor Foster, it's not saying too much to say that I'm here because of you and because of the way that you lead with empathy and with love and kindness, and for showing that there is space for us in these rooms. So thank you.
That's it. Any other councillors have general matters to share? Councillor Ross. Oh,
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to the Rotary Club of Brighton, Rotary Club of Warrnambool Central, Community Cupboard and CWA for the work they done at the start of the month, spreading some joy this Christmas, which means free stuff at about 5 little communities around the district. They've done a fantastic job at supporting the rural communities from the city. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Ross. Councillor Dukas.
Yeah, thank you. The show, the wonderful show that was held, our sheep pavilion and presentation of, I suppose, quality sheep. They're all champions, and the cattle pavilion as well. There's a good exhibition of cattle, though they much appreciated the money that the Shire gave them, the few dollars that they gave them to help run their exhibitions, and I look forward to next year. So, you know, they've sort of broken even or thereabouts, so they'll be back again. So a good shout out to them, because there's a lot of hard work goes into presenting sheep for showing, and also the people that bring them long distances, sheep and cattle. So it's not as easy as you think, because of quality assurance now and disease and everything. They've all got to be vet checked and everything else that goes with them to make sure that they're healthy and don't spread disease. So it's a good effort by both sheep and cattle people, and thank you to the Shire for their small donation.
So I'll say thank you, Councillor Dukas. Any other councillors, general matters? I might just do a quick shout out to Thorpe Free Show as well. Speaking of shows, that was another fantastic event. And also to the Surf Club, which Councillor Foster said before, their 100 years celebration was on Saturday, and been to many unveilings over the years, and I think that was one of the best I've ever been to. It was like a game show. There was an unveiling of the muralers, an unveiling of the surfboard, and the letters on it about celebrating 100 years, a plaque, and a Jim Pevitt memorial. He's still alive and well. You know, a shout out to Jim, a tribute. Then there was the life members. So there was a lot of unveilings. It was a fantastic event, and so big shout out to them. We now move on to urgent business, item 3.4, which we have none. Now move on to item 4, the CEO's meeting schedule and activities report.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, thanks for the opportunity to provide an update. So there's quite a detailed report there in the agenda that I encourage folks to have a look at and give you a real sense of all sorts of activity through council staff that are working hard right across the Shire. A few call outs from me today, just on firstly the calendar of events, just to clarify, this went to print after I fell ill in recent days, and so I wasn't actually present at the International Men's Day event on the 19th of November or the South West Vic Alliance meeting on the 20th of November, but our executive team did a great job being there for me, so I thank them for that. I'd then just like to highlight a few things out of the report. So firstly, just around events, just to also call out the citizenship ceremony that occurred in Koroit. 16 new local citizens, now Australians, and that was a wonderful, really well-attended event. So that was fantastic. Just to add to Councillor Merrihy with the Great Big Bike Ride, just talking to some traders in Mortlake today where the event started. It was a bit of a smaller group with the beginning, but I know they did a lot of meals in the hotel on Sunday night and a bit of activity on Monday as they then took off to Koroit. So great work here in Mortlake was done as well, particularly on a Sunday, which is a bit more of a tricky day for traders. So thanks to those that did that. The International Men's Day, of course, our first event that we've held for International Men's Day in Koroit. So it was the barbecue and the health check. So we'll be really welcome to ideas around how to do that and grow that in future years. So thanks to staff who pulled that event together. Just to touch on our roads. So our road reseal program is well underway. So activity like maintenance, tree pruning, patchwork and so forth is ahead of where we want to be this time of the year. And our unsealed road resheeting program is 60% complete. That doesn't kick off again until April, and then that'll see us on track to complete the works there. Also, our road rehabilitation program, some of the key works underway at the moment at Childers Cove Road. We've got works happening there, Hopkins Fall Road and Boggy Creek Road. So folks driving around will see some of our teams out working on those roads at the moment. And then we're planning for the program for the rest of the year at the moment as well. On the early years front, so current enrolments are at 383. That's a 3% increase on this time last year. And then, of course, we've got Roots Childcare in Garlock with another 32 enrolments that came to being in February this year. So our enrolments for 2026 are progressing well. So we have gone earlier than last year to get those enrolments squared away. So thank you to our staff and families for helping us with that program. Key projects, so the Gibb Street Bridge, folks in and around Port Fairy will notice we're back to 2 lanes and 15 tonnes. So huge thanks to our team for making that happen. There was some really critical works that were required to restore the bridge back to that state, and we're really pleased to see that. It will close again for around 10 days in November, back to 1 lane, while we do some geotechnical testing to get ready for the replacement of the bridge. And that's a project that will progress, obviously, into 2026. But certainly for the summer ahead, the bridge is back to 2 lanes and 15 tonnes, which we know how important that is to the community and road users. The Koroit Township Renewal Stage 3, those works on High Street are continuing at the moment. And then the footpath works have been paused to get us through Christmas, New Year, and they'll resume again in February. Also, maintenance underway at the moment at the Port Fairy Garden Oval Grandstand. Just other operational type stuff happening at the moment. Dredging works on the Moyne River are underway at the moment, really critical to boat users there. The Karamat Waste Transfer Station, we've got fencing going in place there that's really important to the community there, with some activity that happens in and around Karamat. We've got the plumbing of the garden and children's play group at the Sisters Hall. We're doing some painting at the Nurringle Hall, and refurb works around the accessible shower at the Port Fairy Surf Lifesaving Club. So lots of activity happening when you look at it like that. And of course, with summer coming up, when we look at our outdoor pools, at MacArthur, we've got renovation of the showers and urinal, pool lining at Hawkesdale, and change room renovations and plant room safety works at Mortlake. So lots of work with our pools to get them ready for summer, and those openings are coming up soon. Work and play program on the Eco Dev front. So that now expands into agriculture type businesses. So really encourage farmers and the like to have a look at the work and play program. That might be helpful to you in getting work accommodation for the workforce for you in the weeks and months ahead. Fire danger period, that starts for Moyne on the 8th of December. So CFA is putting a lot of information out about that at the moment. So that's a really important one, not just for our community, but also for our team and some of the outdoor works that we do. That changes how we need to operate. And lastly, from me as CEO, I'd like to give my thanks to Mayor, outgoing Mayor Karen Foster, and outgoing Deputy Mayor and now Mayor Jordan Lockett. Obviously, as CEO, we've worked closely together over the last 12 months. So I really appreciate your wisdom and guidance and collaboration together, and wish you the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
So happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Mr. Everstein. Always a comprehensive review. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Ryan.
Through you, Matt, question without notice. With the Koroit streetscape works happening at the moment, how are our businesses going in Koroit with those works, and are we supporting them if they reach out to council?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. So lots of consultations happened with the businesses before we started the project. So all the activity at the moment has been around Mickey Burke's pub. So that's all completed now. So now the pause happens through the Christmas, New Year trading. It's all obviously on the south side. So from February, the real goal will be ensuring that we get those works done before the Irish Festival. Obviously, it happens in big piece. So each business will know when we'll be doing the works outside their business. Some I've spoken to personally are looking at options for themselves to make that work. So lots of consultation through our project team's been happening. So they're well aware, and that's all in their plans at the moment.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Probably to Ms. McNamara. Mortlake South Wind Farm. Has the first noise report been done yet?
Mayor, I can check that for you, Councillor Dukas. I haven't had an update since the last one.
Okay, thank you. And to you also, in relation to the transmission line for the Woolthorpe Wind Farm, there's been some discussion with the locals in consultation with what's happened at one of the other panel hearings. And they have I suppose, a difference of opinion on whether a permit should be issued or not. Now, I believe a permit has been issued. There seems to be some disagreement between DECA, the residents and the federal government. So, through you, could we write to the federal minister in charge of what's the environment to get some sort of clarification on what's legal and what isn't? Because what came out of the panel hearing is different to what we've been told by DECA, and so I think some straight clarification. And even if DECA could write to us and give us some legal document that says we can issue the permit because of X, Y, Z. But if we could get to the federal government, it would be good.
Through Mayor, happy to progress that for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? Thank you. I'm now going to call for a motion to suspend standing orders in order for us to consider the item in confidential.
So moved, Mayor.
Councillor Foster, Councillor Ryan as the seconder. All those in favour of moving to confidential, 7-0. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everyone. What a